the 42 according to your record, even though normal media and through ISK and other LSK and other organizations say the number is much, much higher. Actually, yesterday in the news, they talked about 61 cases, and several numbers are still missing up to now. You have admitted quite a number of these so-called people who were killed by bullets. And obviously, those are police bullets. And obviously, you must have a traceability mechanism to know who was assigned what gun, what kind of ammunition was assigned. Is it possible to trace and follow up and know exactly which police officer shot any particular member of these 42 who have died? And that being the case, having been killed, as we have clearly said, weapons bought by the people of Kenya, what measures have you put in place to ensure the bereaved families, the families who lost loved ones, their breadwinners, their hopes in life, what measures has the government put in place to compensate, even assuage or relieve their pain? What measures has the government put in place? Thank you, Chair.
Chair, I would like to respond to the further intervention by the honorable member as follows. That I have not admitted that any Kenyan was killed by the police. What I said is that some died because of bullet wounds. The process of proving the owner of the gun that discharged a killer bullet is a forensic process. And I am not ruling out the possibility that a police officer may have used their firearms outside the law. But just 2 comments there, Chair, which I honestly believe are in the best interest of the country for me to say at a time like this one, when we are grappling with serious balances. On one hand, we have a country to keep safe from crime, and on the other hand, we have also a country that has a constitution that gives wide-ranging liberties, including civil liberties. I want to say these 2 things. That firstly, Chair, police are allowed to use lethal force. Let's start from there. Police are allowed to use lethal force to kill, depending on the circumstances. There are parameters. Those firearms are supposed to neutralize dangerous criminals who pose danger either to the life of a police officer themselves or to the lives of the people. And I think that's a general principle. I am not trying to say that any of these cases fitted there. I'm just saying that the law allows the police to use lethal force. The question that the pursuit of justice must help us to answer is whether, if there is any police officer who used their weapon, whether that use was within the parameters permitted under the law. If they were not within the parameters, then that police officer must be held accountable. And I know I have been briefed, IPOA is already at an advanced stage of doing that investigations. It requires forensics. You can trace the bullet to a gun and the license, who owns that gun. The second point, and while I'm at that on the police use of force, I would like to, if you look at, for example, what happened in America on January 6, 2020, which, well, remotely could be similar to what we had, maybe not exactly, because those characters who came to Parliament were not coming for fun. Many of you members were there. They were not coming for fun. They were coming to burn down Parliament and kill people, basically. They were not coming to demonstrate and ask for the finance bill not to be passed. They were coming to cause grave harm. In fact, 2 days after that event, after we frustrated the effort to burn down parliament and kill members. We arrested a suspect at 4 a.m. outside parliament carrying fuel, intending to go and raise down the premises of parliament. So the action we took on that day, therefore, and I'm not preempting the investigations, some lives were lost in the process. But I wanted, again, to be fair to our democracy, to compare that with what happened in the US on January 6, 2020, the attack on Capitol Hill, which was actually an attack on American democracy, forced the Senate of the US to make certain decisions and use violence, including harming people, to make a political statement. Lives were lost in that country, but they have never discussed that matter. No media, no person has discussed the lives that were lost on Capitol Hill to protect the American democracy. So that contextualization is extremely important. And Chair, I will not pretend, as the country's security minister, I hold the very strong view that for this country to remain sustainable and for our democracy to function, we must, within the Constitution, make sure that the institutions established under our Constitution are protected, because if we overthrow constitutional institutions like parliament, judiciary, the executive, we have no country. The things we are discussing here, we will not have even this discussion where a parliamentary committee is grilling the security minister, because the country will